Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. We got the Geordie Bias Premier League show here with other fans, rival fans, I guess you can call them. Spurs, of course, Stelios, you know, Tottenham away. Nice big channel over there. They're happy, boy. I've never seen Stelios this happy before. I tell you, that's that much. It's kind of weird seeing him that happy, being a Spurs fan. And you can say the same thing about us, of course, this season. We got Jerry here. He's a Chelsea fan. We try to get a Liverpool fan, but a lot of them are, just trying to take time off based on the horrible scenes that everybody's been seeing from their celebrations. Some fans got ran over in their celebrations, and a few were, in the surrounding area. Some can't get back to their homes in London or wherever they live. And so we're going to respect that. Of course, they are the champs, so you gotta respect that. And they won the league very comfortably, to say the least. But just quick thoughts on that. I mean, do you guys know anything that's what happened really with that? And I just saw a video of a car in the middle, and he just ran people over. I mean, it was unbelievable to see. I was shocked actually watching that. Anybody know what's happened? When you're muted, you're muted on Nevmux, so you gotta unmute yourself. I think Stella, you said you were telling me that it was bad. Do you know anything else more than we know?
No one knows what's actually gone down. It looked like a terror attack because
Wow.
it's happened quite a bit across Europe. But at the same time, it could be someone that's mentally unwell or someone that got into an argument with one of the Liverpool fans. They tried to drive away. No one really knows, but whatever it is, it's disgusting. A lot of fans got hurt, some in serious conditions. I think one person died. We don't exactly know what the motive is. All we know is that someone decided to drive for a crowd of fans, and it's terrible. That could happen at any parade. It could have happened at your parade. It could have happened at our one. It could have happened at Crystal Palace's on the weekend. It was shocking, and thoughts and prayers with the Liverpool, the fans involved,
Yeah. Terrible news. Well, anyways, just like you said, hopes and prayers that everybody's healthy, that everybody's good. I didn't see that anything, no deaths or anything like that. As far as I know, obviously I don't know much about it, but as far as I've heard, but regardless, it doesn't matter, does it? I mean, it needs to be dealt with accordingly. But Liverpool are the champs. This is the years of the birds, man. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's crazy that. Although Chelsea is trying to switch to be a bird, but the three little lions, or one or whatever, they got a lion there. But Jerry, how you doing, mate?
Let them be a griffin.
Yeah. Jerry, how you doing, mate?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's been a while, and thank you for having me. And thank you so much. And first of all, I would like to congratulate a fellow rival, the Spurs, Stelios, for winning the Europa League. And as a Chelsea fan, a very genuine congratulations. Actually, there was this discussion in the Chelsea fan base because both Spurs and Manchester United are huge rivals for different reasons. So I was supporting Spurs, by the way, for this one, because for me, Manchester United, I see them as the bigger rival. And because I'm not from London, of course, I know the rivalry between Spurs and Chelsea, but I have never looked at Tottenham as a main rival. and I wanted Postecoglou to win actually.
You're
So
the only Chelsea fan who wanted us to win. I can tell you that for sure. You're the
I have
only.
to be honest, and Chelsea fans in the community know that. So I feel I really enjoyed your celebration, Postecoglou. Of course, we are rivals. Don't get me wrong, but for sure, like I still can feel the, 17 years of journey. So of course, at the end of the day, we are all humans. So I was
Yeah.
like, I really was happy for you. So
Yeah.
well done. So I would like to know, like, if I may ask, like, what's the situation at Tottenham? Because um, are you guys like going to get rid of Postecoglou now?
Yeah, man, that's a number. Well, yeah, Stelios, first of all, are you happy? How are well? You are actually. I've been seeing some sites that I can never believe. Hell has froze over, but maybe it's just the fact that you won. Maybe that's all. Maybe that's all you needed to do. But how are you feeling? And how are you feeling about Postecoglou? Because still one spot above relegation, mate.
Mm.
You gotta think about that one.
Yeah. So first of all, Tottenham Hotspur is a football club that, throughout history, we're not Bayern Munich, we're not Liverpool, we're not Barcelona, but we are a big club that always won 2 or 3 trophies every 10 years. So we were relevant, but not the big, the big dogs. But we've been a relevant club for the last 25 years under our ownership. It's been a disaster. We've just stopped winning trophies, and we've just like
Mhm.
this. But the profit, the business, the stadium has gone the other way, and there's been a lot of anger. I've told you we've been protesting. We've had enough. The protests were much bigger this year, and I said to my mates, I'm not going to renew my season ticket this year. I'm done. This club's rubbish. It doesn't care about football anymore. The fans were just a cash machine for the owners. It's a joke. And this manager is absolutely awful. He's awful, this manager. But, you know, look, he got fifth in the first season, which is a good start. He started, he inherited a team that finished eighth, and he lost Harry Kane, who's a player that would normally help you get to top four. And we didn't replace Kane. So to get fifth in the first season was a positive start. He got us back into the Europa Cup. This season, the league we're doing okay. We had a lot of injuries, and he didn't adapt the team to the players that were available. And he tried to play the same football without the players that he had, and it cost us. And that's when everyone questioned this manager. And what are you doing? Your tactics are awful. You got to change. And we're just getting beaten by Ipswich, by Leicester, we're losing to everyone. Twice to Newcastle, twice to Arsenal. We're falling apart. Somehow, he found a way to win the Europa Cup, which means who cares where we finish? Because we're back in the Champions League through the
Yeah.
back. A European trophy.
There ain't no back doors.
Yeah, the cheap route. Okay, he found the cheap route.
No,
And
no cheap roots. There's roots and there's roots.
Yeah. Well.
all right, I was trying to be nice. Look, he found the route. He found the route, and by doing that, he's given us what we've been missing for a long time. Not just a trophy, but a European trophy. It's our fourth European trophy. We're ahead of Arsenal. We're one behind Man United. We do have European heritage, Tottenham, and
Yep.
it was unbelievable, the experience of it. And what's happened now is it's divided fans, because a lot of fans like me that said, Ange out, get this guy out. He's awful. He's terrible. This chairman's a joke. The chairman, we were shocked he didn't sack him. We couldn't believe that he didn't sack. He sacked much better managers for far less. Poch got sacked when we were, I think, 12th. Mourinho got sacked when we were 7th. Conte got sacked when we were 4th. And was 17th. And he's like, yeah, sticking with him. We couldn't believe it. And look, it's the coldest line in football. I don't usually win in my second season. I always win. Man, he put it on everyone. He put it on everyone, and he did it. Listen,
Yeah.
in some worlds, they call that gangster, right?
Yeah.
And you got to say there's something about this guy, because he did what Mourinho, Conte, Nuno, Poch, Redknapp, none of them could win at Tottenham. None of them. He did it. He did it. And at the parade, what did he say to us? The best TV series season 3 is always better than season 2. I'm like, oh, don't do this again, man. Don't do this again to us. What are you doing? So where we're at now, to answer your question, a lot of fans still want him out because they won't accept being 17th. For me, I've changed my mind because he's proven to me he can win at a club that hasn't won in a long time.
Yeah. And the European trophy, man.
I think he deserves the start of next season. I think he deserves to be given a chance. But if we do sack him and another manager comes in, I also understand that. And as long as the next manager is a good manager like a Glasner from Crystal Palace, I don't mind. But I would like Ange to be given a chance because he's done what everyone else couldn't. And he told us he was going to do this. And he told me season 3 is better. So it's a difficult one. The Spurs fan base are divided. The celebrations have ended pretty quickly. It's now civil war on YouTube. Ange in, Ange out. Everyone's it's ridiculous. I don't know how we haven't enjoyed the moment more and we're arguing already, but it's a big decision. Levy had to make a massive decision about sticking with Ange and he got it right. Now he's got a massive decision. You've got a chance to build on this Tottenham and try and take the club somewhere. You've got the stadium. You've got the money. Do you want to go somewhere or not? And who's the manager going to be? So to answer your question, we're split. But guys, I'll be honest, I don't care. I've had the best week beating Manchester United in the final. We shut them all up. They were in tears, all of them. It was great. Yeah. We've never beaten a Man United in a final. In fact, we've never beaten Liverpool in a final, something you guys did this year. We've never done that. And listen, we've been partying. We had 250,000 fans on the streets of North London at the parade. Arsenal are in the mud. We've ruined Arsenal. Arteta phase 6. They're crying. We've shut it. Listen, for the first time, boys, in a long time, I'm happy. I'm happy. And I just want to stay there for as long as I can. So
there's a chance on Sunday night. You could have had Eddie Howe. Would you take an Eddie Howe?
Yeah, I'll take Eddie Howe. Yeah, he's a good manager. But I think I want to stick with Ange for now. But I think most Spurs fans, it's 50-50. Ange in, Ange out. It's 50-50. Yeah. They can't let go of that 17th position. But for me, it's who cares? Like, this is what Ange said. Ange says, who cares if we finish 3rd? This way, yeah, you're 17th, but you got European trophy and you still got the reward of 3rd. So what does it matter?
In 20 years' time, who'll remember the fact that Spurs were 17th?
Exactly my point. I agree.
I do agree with that.
In 20 years' time, who'll remember what Spurs did in 2025?
I do agree 100%. I think it would be different, though, if they have won the Carabao Cup and be 17th. That changes things a lot. You don't get Europe, and it's not to the pick. I mean, look, Stelios is talking about 4 times ever. The European trophy matters. Now, the Conference League, I mean, I want to disrespect my man Jerry here because he's in the final, and listen, do your best to win it, brother. But you got Champions Leagues. You got bigger fresh in the cabinet. There's no problem. But it's a new cup, Conference League, so maybe it doesn't hold the prestige that others do. The European Cup has been there forever. It's heavy, man. Your European trophy, being European trophy, it holds a lot of weight. Wynn doesn't want to admit to that. He thinks all cups are the same and whatever, but that's not true. And you can tell by Stelios, who was a hardcore critic of Ange and this regime, and look at what it's done. I mean, you cannot go against that. So having Europe and winning a European trophy almost makes 17th irrelevant because it's just one season. And I'm pretty sure Spurs have finished there many times before, and nobody remembers that. Or lower, you get the point. So,
but he's saying he would have had Glasner, who finished 12th, and won the FA Cup.
Yeah, but I think the difference here is, though, Glasner's gone to a club that's won nothing ever, and he's gone to a club that lost Elise, Anderson. He's done a magnificent job. He hasn't got the resources of a Spurs manager. Look, the big concern at Spurs is this. There's a lot of fans that don't have confidence Ange can do better in the league, and therefore they think it'll be a disastrous season just because he won the Europa. But there's other fans that say, look, he sacrificed the league because of the injuries to focus on the Europa, and he pulled it out the bag. If we have a bigger squad, a better quality squad, and we don't get as many injuries, we wouldn't be 17th in the league, and we can still win trophies. So it depends which way you want to go. Look, tactically, this guy's suspect, guys. He's a very suspect manager. He hasn't adapted when we should have, and there's big questions about him. You know, when we played you tactically, you outdid us twice. He's a very but
sounds like an echo chamber, doesn't it?
But when it matters, he's proven he can get it over the line, which a lot of managers fail to do that, and that's the most important thing. You know, Eddie Howe proved it. He got Bournemouth promoted. You know, he got them over the line. He come to Newcastle, boom. What was it your first trophy in, was it 40, 50 odd years?
First domestic in 70.
He got it over the line, guys. Very few managers can do that nowadays. He did it. So do I really want to lose Ange when he's proven he can do it at my club? I don't know, man. It's a difficult one, guys. It's a really difficult conversation.
So let me ask you and then ask Jerry the same question then. Talking about which one would you rather win? Would you rather win the Champions League final, or would you rather win the Premier League? Since both of you, I mean, Chelsea's won it more recently, I guess you can say. But either way, which one would you rather, guys? Would you rather have?
Very good question. I love this question. So again, different people have different perspective. So I go with this philosophy and this thinking that a team that can win the league over 38 games, 9 months, is definitely the best team. So Premier League is for me, not only the league, the English Premier League, definitely the most competitive league. So Champions League is a knockout, especially from the knockout stages. So element of luck can play a part. So in the English Premier League, for me, league anytime, the best in the world, I would say. But of course, UCL, I'm not undermining or looking down at the value of UCL, of course. But if I have to pick one, Premier League, and in context of Chelsea, we won in 2017 under Conte, when Spurs finished with an amazing 86 points under Pochettino. You know, unlucky, I would say, Poch. Poch did wonderful with Spurs, by the way. And of course, it's your club, your brand. But I think not backing Poch, I think, was one of the biggest mistakes I can say that Levy made, because he overachieved for 4 years up until the last year. That was a bit turbulent. So anyway, so we'll come to that. So yeah, I think Premier League would prove that the manager and the team is in great shape, because with UCL we can know an element of luck can also play a part. Like Barcelona, a lot of people believe is the best team this year in Europe, but they were exhausted. They played the Copa del Rey final just a few days ago. The way they play high line, high intensity, they don't have the bench strength. And of course, I'm not taking any credit from Inter Milan, but I think it played a huge part with Barcelona not making the finals. So things can play a part. You can be the best, but then again, one game can determine if you won the UCL or not. You can win all the games and lose the final and not win the UCL. But in the Premier League, you can have a few games, a few losses and draws. But if you are good enough and consistent, you come out as the winner. So I see Premier League as the most prestigious league, and to prove that you are the best in the world because of the because where Premier League is at the moment. Yes, sir.
What do you think, Stel? Which one would you rather have?
We won the league in 51. We won the league in 61. We've won league titles. We've never won the European Cup, the Champions League. We've never won it. For me, I'd want that, because then we've won everything. And also, Arsenal have never won it. So if we won it, we would hold that over them for as long.
You're on another level. You're on another level. You're in the special club, I guess you could say. And so interesting. Let's talk a little bit about the champions, though.
What about you guys, Newcastle?
Oh, I'd rather have Champions League any day of the week. I think that makes you an elite. That makes you
take the Premier League every day of the week.
Yeah. Well, he's a British. You know, he wants the English Empire to
why,
come back.
Why the Premier League win?
Because, as Jerry's just said, it proves you're the best team in the world, in my opinion.
I don't think so.
None.
I don't think so. But see, that's the problem. The language that he uses is problematic, right? Because if he said, I'd rather have the Premier League, all right, but I'll shake your hand. But bar none, you know, as if the Champions League is a milk cup. And that's the issue that I have. We debate all the time. He loses every time as well. So it's kind of irrelevant. But the Champions League makes you a different club. It makes you a different club. It just does.
In the eyes of the world, it does, yeah.
Okay,
and that's what matters in the eyes of the world, of course.
To play devil's advocate.
Doesn't matter to me.
To play devil's advocate, and I'm not taking anything from Real Madrid and Zidane. They won 3 in a row, but they were not the best team in Spain. I put a tweet then. How come Real Madrid are the best team in Europe for 3 years in a row when they are not even the best team in Spain? Because Barcelona won twice, Madrid won just one league when they won 3 UCL. So I see it in a different way. It's a knockout competition, same like the World Cup. You can just lose one game and you're eliminated. That's the point I'm making
Look,
over
but
here.
look at the. I mean, Man City, the best Man City at the time was the best probably team in the world, but they bottled against Real Madrid in their stadium.
So
Uh,
that's
it,
what I'm saying. But if
it
Real Madrid would have played the
because when it
league,
comes
I don't
to
think so they have finished above Man City, in my opinion.
it takes skill to win a knockout stages. By the way, it ain't just you just don't do it.
Do you
Uh,
know? Do you know what the problem I have with this? Right, the Premier League. Other than 3 or 4 teams, no one else is going to win the league. So really,
exactly.
what are you up against? It's much. You're up against much more quality in the Champions League. However, having said that, the Champions League allows 4 teams from each country. So it's not even just the champions from each country. It's you can come fifth this year and you're in the Champions League. So is it really a Champions League? I think there's flaws with both. I don't. I actually don't know which is better, the Premier League or the Champions League. I just picked the Champions League because we've never won it. But I don't. I don't know which is better.
Which is the hardest to win?
Well, you're playing harder
But,
teams in the
yeah,
Champions League, but
100.
you've got to be more consistent to win the Premier League. So I don't know.
You're winning a handful of a handful of games against harder teams. You're playing a handful of
No,
games
you don't.
against
What?
harder
Every
teams.
team you play, for the most part, other than a few in the group stages, are tough teams.
In the
Because
knockout stage, it's so tough. I think. In the
Right,
knockout
yeah,
stage.
yeah.
even if you get a group of death, which we did last time around, we played against every good team in Europe, and that was the group stage. So and it's hard to take but honestly, everywhere in football, no matter if you play whatever you want to play, the best, the teams that spend the most and the best and the most qualified teams win every time. That you rarely get a dark horse in any tournament. Greece won the Euro Cup once and never ever smelt it again. Portugal, you know, Leicester.
There may be 3 teams in Spain who would finish in our top 10. There might be 3 teams on any given year. There might be 3 teams, if you're lucky, in Germany who would finish in our top 10. There would be 1 or 2 teams in Italy who would finish in our top 10. There'd be 1 team in France who would
Yeah,
finish in our top 10.
solid
Get it,
points.
man.
No,
To win the Premier League,
Facts.
there's not a single easy game.
no. That's a lie. That's a lie. There's a lot of easy games.
Facts.
Bournemouth,
Facts.
Leicester, easy game. Ipswich, easy game. Southampton, easy game.
Yeah, you
Wolves.
picked them this year because that's
The-
why
the-
they are getting relegated.
Well,
Well,
They're
let me
okay.
pick
gonna
it from
be
last
in
year.
next
Burnley, although easy games. So
Hold on 1 second here, chap. So let's say I took Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, Barcelona.
Yeah.
I took Inter Milan, Lazio, Napoli.
Yeah.
I took Paris Saint-Germain, and I put them all in the Premier League. I bet you they all finished top 10.
well, of course.
So therefore, it's harder to win the Champions League. So it
No,
depends
because
which way you
you're
look at it.
not going to play all 7 of those.
No, but you're
Twice.
gonna
All
play
the way.
at least 3 of those teams, at least.
Why wouldn't you play those teams home and away?
Look at Arsenal this year. Real Madrid, PSG, and if they beat PSG, they would have had to play Inter. So you're going to play at least 3. You're guaranteed to play 2 in the knockout stage. So I don't know, man. This argument about the Premier League, I get it. I do get it. I don't think you're wrong.
It's
I
the
just
best league in the world. It's the best league in the world. There's no denying that.
Yeah.
But they bar none. The miles ahead. All this language is not warranted. You gotta respect everybody.
The only advantage that I see that the Champions League has over the Premier League is in terms of global recognition. And
But that matters, man. That matters.
Of course it matters.
So what are you talking about? Anyways, it's a good argument to continue though, and all of us would like to have I think Champions League because we have never won one. I think Stelly is the same thing. But you can see Jerry's already had a few in his lifetime. So he's
Yeah,
really not even bothered like that.
So
So
he's
that's
had them
what
and he's saying Premier League.
exactly because he's already had them, multiple times. So it's tough. It's tough. But let's talk about the champs though, because talking about the league, you can
Ask Italy.
correlate.
You're talking about big clubs. Ask Italy. It's Italy. Ask Liverpool.
Yeah, the
Which
Liverpool
one
would
they
rather have
wanted to
Champions
win.
League. They have the most. Of course,
No,
they're going to
Premier
put that
League.
No,
in
they
another
would they
pedestal.
would
Premier
take
League.
Premier
Liverpool
League
and
every
Liverpool
day.
Premier League. Yeah.
Liverpool is going to argue Champions League all the time because that's
No,
where
no,
they're
Premier
No,
League.
they're not.
No.
by far they got the most, and they're ahead miles ahead of everybody as far as that's concerned.
Liverpool would pick the Premier League only because they want to stay ahead of Man United.
And they haven't won the Premier League in itself. I like to count English titles because at this
One in
Premier League
35
stuff.
years. 1 in 35 years.
Yeah,
Liverpool.
but the fact that they
Two,
won Champions League
two in
makes
35.
so
Two.
for what's deceiving and what's
Liverpool.
disrespectful.
It's two, yeah. They won it this year, didn't they?
Oh, they won it this year exactly. The 19 as well, I think. So, but you know what? The language is what I have an issue with. What Mighty Win had said, and also what Roy Keane once said, bantering, of course, Liverpool when he said, "I don't know why they're celebrating like this in 2019 when they've only won one title in the last what was it 20, 30 years." And that's a lie, isn't it? It's a lie. Roy Keane's lying. He's just trying to banter a rival team. When the reality is that Liverpool has won titles, big ones, very important ones in the last 20 years. They've won six Champions Leagues, man. That is a lot.
But they hadn't
That
won the one.
yeah, but he didn't say the Premier League. He said they hadn't won titles. So that is a lie in itself. It is. It is. But let's talk about the champs though, because talking about the league, they won the league pretty easy, fellas. So Win wants to talk about the Premier League is the greatest league ever invented in the history of civilization. Well, I mean, actually, Man City are the only ones that haven't. They've won it 7 times out of the last 10 years. So that tells you one thing. And what happened this season? Liverpool literally have won this league when 5 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Is there an issue with that?
Well,
Must try harder.
Yeah, but Liverpool literally tried this league, and you're talking
look,
about it's the best league in the world.
Man City collapsed. So really, the door opened. Arsenal were the team in waiting to go on and win it. But Arsenal didn't address their problems. They didn't buy cover for the wide areas. If Saka or Martinelli are injured or don't play well, they failed to bring in a goal scorer. And it's cost them. And they fell short because of it. So Arsenal's poor window didn't address their problems. And when the door opened for them to go through, Liverpool came by. And, I did a video on my channel 2 years ago saying once we sacked Conte, I said, get me Arnie Slot. And no one knew about this guy. And I did a video on him saying, listen, this guy's a good manager. He sets his team up right. I like the way he can change the way they play depending who they play. This manager's going below the radar. And I told my Liverpool friends when they got Arnie Slot, you've got a good manager here. Like, who is this guy? I said, listen, he's a good manager. I never thought he'd win the league in year one. But listen, he did magnificently well. He did brilliantly, Arnie Slot. I think Liverpool ran out of steam at the end. They should have done better in the Champions League, the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup. They should have done better, but they didn't. And I mean, you guys deserved to beat them on the day. You were the better team. Your tactics were far superior.
Game.
Yeah. But really, it was Arsenal that were meant to be the team to take the league. But
my only issue with that, obviously, I actually out of all fans, we probably like Liverpool fans quite a bit. I have an issue with them. Spurs fans are like you, and then I have to count. No, I'm playing. I like Will. I like a few guys. Listen. I want the teams that don't win to win. But although I told you to your message, I told you I didn't want you to win, and I'll explain to you in a minute. I feel like Liverpool just. When I realized that they won it a couple of weeks back, I said, "Man, they really ran through this league like nothing." And
I think it's a multifactorial, like holistically, if you see, If you see, Liverpool won the league with 84 points. If you first look at that, which is not huge, which is not like a lot of points or the highest points in the last 10 years, right? So, as much as they did well, I'm not taking anything away from that. What I'm trying to allude is that other teams, like all of the teams from Arsenal to Chelsea, Newcastle, Man City, Villa, Forest, we were in the same lane, completely like a level below Liverpool and competing for the fourth spot, five, six teams. That played a huge part, of course, the dip in form of Man City. I think this was Arsenal's opportunity because remember last
Probably.
season, Arsenal finished with 89 points. And I agree with Stelios, very well analyzed that they didn't address. But even if they didn't, they still had the squad plus more signings than last season, more well rehearsed, right? They finished with 89 points. Liverpool won this league with 84 points. Arteta had five more points last season and came second. So I'm just saying, right? So all these factors, in my opinion, very well played a huge part. And of course, the race for top four was amazing. It went to the last point, and last day. Newcastle, like I think Chelsea and everyone, like for you as well, you would say that when you drop points, we'll drop points, City drop points, right? No one took the advantage. I think City, Newcastle, and Chelsea in the last 3 months were like literally hand in hand. Like if Chelsea win two games, then Newcastle will drop 6 points. Then it's City's turn. So no one took the advantage. You had many opportunities to go ahead, be safe. We had the opportunity, but anyways, all three of us, I mean, City, Newcastle, and
Yeah.
Chelsea made it into the Champions League, and of course, because of the five positions as well. So I think that is why, and I'm not taking anything away from Liverpool, right? They played well, but that is why I think the reasons that I mentioned at the end of the day, it was easier for Liverpool, and of course, Klopp, I think we can all agree, left Liverpool in such a great shape. And what Slot did, because when I talk to fans and the analysts, they sometimes don't give as much credit to Slot. They say, okay, like, okay, this I understand that he took a very great Liverpool, a very well rehearsed team, but right, you guys can give your thoughts. But a lot of managers could come and cannot take it. First of all, there's a lot of pressure, right? We know what happened when Sir
Yeah.
Alex left at United and stuff, Arsenal, Arsene Wenger. So the thing is that if he wasn't clever or if he wasn't a great manager, he could have made different tactical changes. So he was clever enough to know that he didn't have to really change the system. He made some changes, of course. He worked on the defensive shape, right? But overall, he played the same philosophy. So I think I give a lot of credit to Arne Slot as much as that he inherited a great team because I don't think so it would have been that easy for any other manager. As much as people say, oh, it was a great Liverpool team, but we have seen in the past a lot of managers taking over great teams couldn't live up to the expectations. Either it's the pressure of the media or a or the occasion or working with the new team. But I think Slot did a wonderful job. Having said that, playing a devil's advocate, now it will be interesting to see like the sustainability, how he continue in the next season when Arsenal,
Yeah.
City, Chelsea, other teams, including Manchester United, who won't be in Europe, and Newcastle, of course, who played fantastic. And I
Yeah.
absolutely love Eddie Howe, by the way. And I would like to know your thoughts on Eddie Howe because I think the style of play that he plays is tailor made for Premier League, right? High intensity, power, direct approach, and the players, the physicality that you guys have. I think it really like suits the system, Eddie Howe's philosophy. But and one follow up question, if your thoughts on Eddie Howe, and one follow up question is because I didn't have the time to watch all the Newcastle games, but I was kind of surprised in the end, last 4 5 games, and also in between I mean in some other instances in the season, why do you think team was inconsistent? Because they were really great in many games, but some of the games I was surprised that they were really inconsistent. They couldn't win some of the
Hmm.
games we expected. So I,
Yeah.
as a rival fan, would like to have your view.
Yeah. I agree with that, and it's good that you're realizing that. Win thinks we play every game was perfect, and it's
Why were
unfortunate,
Newcastle
but
so inconsistent?
because we were
Answers
inconsistent.
on a postcard, please. Put it in a bottle, and you'll be able to sell it for £1 million a bottle.
Yeah,
Because it wasn't just Newcastle who were inconsistent. Liverpool walked the league because they were consistently consistent, and Liverpool did the business against all of the bottom clubs, all of them,
mm,
and the rest of the division dropped points against the lesser clubs, which is always susceptible to happen in the Premier League.
oh my God, here's this Premier League nonsense.
Exactly.
It's all of that's BS anyway. It's lies.
I think it'll be a long time before any team gets 100 points in the Premier League again, because every team is strengthening. Every single team.
When's the last time there was 100 points in the Premier League?
Man City 2018, I think 19, one of the two.
2018, 2019, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's so let's talk about Chelsea then, because Chelsea are fourth. I think quietly.
The reason Arsenal got 89 points last year and still finished second was because the bottom 12 teams were all, fighting to get the 40 points until way after Christmas.
Yeah,
Whereas there was only for the last 2 seasons, there's been the 3 teams that have been promoted have been, cast adrift certainly by Christmas, and the rest of the teams are progressively getting more and more points.
Okay, there's still 10 easy games, 20 easy games in the Premier League. The weekend, Fulham, Crystal Palace. I like all of them.
Fulham
Everton,
and Crystal
West
Palace
Ham.
are not easy.
Yeah, they're all magnificently easy games, man. Easy, lovely games. Wolves, even Tottenham this season, Leicester, Ipswich, Southampton, all them hunting at the zoo, man. Hunting at the zoo games that some of them bottled, but it is what it is.
What do you reckon to that, Stelios? Did you
So,
hear that? Fulham and Crystal Palace are easy games. 6 points guaranteed. What do you think of that?
Yeah, guys, sorry about that. I had to jump off the stream. I had to sort out something. Anyway, it's sorted.
There you go, man.
Sorry, yeah, apologies. What was your question again? Sorry, Win.
Yeah, so
he's trying to say that there's all 20 teams, can win the La
Chris
Liga or whatever again.
Chris
So
specifically said that games against Fulham and Crystal Palace should be 6 points.
in a lot of the other ones that I mentioned.
For a club like you, it should be, but there's no doubt that the gap has closed. The gap has closed.
What is a club like us?
You're a big club.
Hey, don't tell him that. He doesn't agree with that. He thinks we're Burnley. So
Listen. You might not be big in terms of history of trophies, but you're big in terms of size of stadium.
We are big in terms of history of trophies. We're 8th.
Okay. Well, when I say big, I mean Liverpool's, the United's. That's what
Yeah.
Your current squad should be beating Crystal Palace and Fulham. There's no doubt. You've got a very, very good team. But the gap's closed now. So what you've got now is a situation where so-called smaller clubs like Palace, Fulham, Brighton's, Bournemouth, they've closed the gap because their scouting's very good. They're attracting quality managers that people haven't heard of. And, they're building their stadiums up slowly. So I think the gap has closed. Yeah, money, definitely. But the gap is closed now. The big 6, I think, will always be the big 6. But, an Aston Villa and Newcastle could creep into that big 6 and the club could drop out of there easily. So I do think you guys are a team that is knocking on the door of being a big 6. It's whether you build from there.
I've always put, this past season and the season before, I've always put Aston Villa, Tottenham, and Newcastle in the same category, and Man United as well, because I think they're rubbish. People just talk about them. and that's fine. But those are the clubs that are going to be fighting for Champions League, fighting maybe to get up there to fight to make a run. But those are the teams, and they're gonna be fighting each other all the time. That's why I always say Tottenham is a must-win for us. And so you wanna beat your rivals. You wanna meet the teams that are in the same level as you, and so that's what I was thinking anyway. So,
Which is a pleasant segue into what Chris referred to earlier on when he was saying that in the Europa Cup, Europa League, whatever you want to call it, he was rooting for Man United to beat Tottenham.
I was, but that's why we cannot talk.
I was rooting for Tottenham to beat Man United because my thoughts were, if Tottenham beat Man United, that's Man United out of Europe.
They're irrelevant. They're irrelevant.
That's their revenue. Their attraction.
Do you understand? They changed their lunch menu. They changed their lunch menu, Man United. So they're an irrelevant club. They don't exist. It's all talk and media. That's who keeps them alive.
No,
I
it's
didn't
history.
want, and for them to win a Europa is another stripe on the tiger. Next season they're going to be crying, moaning, and chanting and banting because they lose, because Amarin, because of Garnacho, this and that. They're a numpty club. I didn't want Spurs to win because the Europa compared to the Carabao Cup is no competition. I didn't want them to get the lead on us, right? I didn't want them. That's the honest truth. Just like I didn't want Aston Villa to win the Champions League. You were rooting for Aston Villa because that meant another spot. That, to me, that's blasphemy. And I didn't want it to happen. I told Stelios to his face, I didn't want you win, but congrats anyway because he had congratulated me on the cup. So we're friends. I'm rocking the Stelios look right now just for him. But that was my thing. Now they won the Europa League, then as I said, we are knackered, plain and simple. Because if you look at it from the Newcastle United fans' perspective, of course we won a cup, and that's for us is that's it. However, when it comes to where we are in the pecking order, Spurs by winning the Europa League have gotten a jump on us, plain and simple.
Yeah, but you know what, Chris? I don't think you should look at it that way. I think you should just focus on yourselves because we as a club, we've been guilty of focusing on other teams and not ourselves. And you get into this world of where you care more about what others are doing and not yourselves. If you just focus on what Newcastle do and you keep winning trophies and you keep being successful, that's how your club. I get it. We get it. We're rivals, so you do make sense. But listen, if you guys win trophies, it doesn't bother me one bit, as long as my club's winning trophies. If Aston Villa win a Europa League or a Carabao or an FA, I don't care as long as my team is winning because that's all you should care about. The only thing where I do get a bit like this is obviously with Chelsea and Arsenal because we've got huge rivalry. Chelsea and Arsenal is like Newcastle, Sunderland. It's war. It's war, right? It's non-negotiable. So, but I don't think you should look at us in that way. I don't think.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I do worry about my club only. Actually, I didn't even know you were in the final until like a week before. So that's certainly. And then I was like, oh shit, that's not good. And that's how I look at it. But either way, let's talk about Chelsea because you guys got a final coming up. I mean, who you play against?
Real Betis.
Real Betis. That's not easy, by the way.
Pellegrini.
That is not easy at all. Win thinks you're playing against Barnsley, but you're not.
Manuel Pellegrini.
Do you want to back Real Betis? Do you want to bet now?
Me?
Well,
No, I'm talking to Chris.
Betis
okay.
is not an easy club. You gotta just at least watch the highlights, man. Like it's not an easy club.
What's the
It will be
highlights?
close.
I'll be watching the
hell,
game.
man. No, I'm talking about the highlights of Betis, at least one, so you can tell they're a proper club, man. It's crazy. You don't even know where Betis probably is located. Anyway, but Chelsea, is another trophy. How do you look at that though?
So do you want me to reflect a little bit on the league as well? The league and of course the cup. I mean, Chelsea fan base, I would say the most divided because I'm there. in I would say in the whole of the league, probably the world, like the fan base is always divided, like, and fighting among each other. So okay, first let me address the point of the conference league. So for me, and of course I don't like look down or disrespect any trophy, but I as an analyst look at it in this way, that Enzo Maresca would be getting, or is getting, from some, I say, toxic positive ones, a lot of credit already for finishing fourth, which is fine. I think it should be the bare minimum. And again, where Chelsea is, I understand. That's why I rate Pochettino. When Poch came to Chelsea, I thought it was a great appointment because where Chelsea was in the developmental phase, right? So, Conference League, look, what it will do as a fan is we'll complete the whole set if we win tomorrow. Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, no other team has done. Good. No one would mind that, right? Let's be realistic. As a fan, why would anyone say we don't want to get that? But then if we win that trophy and then spin it, either it's the owners of Chelsea or the fan base, and then like give the credit to the manager and back him, because I'm not satisfied with the manager basically over here. And so that is why it's divided. Although we finished fourth, which is good, right? But with Pochettino, like, I think Pochettino did a better job. Music to Stelios' ears, I would say, as a Chelsea fan.
Me and Stelios talked about that, and we agree. We couldn't understand why you sacked him.
Music to Stelios' ears, maybe the first Chelsea fan he likes, and a lot of stick I'll get by because I congratulated him at the start, I'm sure, from the Chelsea fan base. The thing is, look, with Enzo Maresca, okay, to make it short, because there's a lot I can talk on the whole league. Let me highlight some key points, right? We started well. We hit the ground running with Enzo Maresca. At Christmas, almost, I'm forgetting, was it 2 or 3 points? We were 2 or 3 points behind Liverpool before Christmas. Just 2 or 3 points behind Liverpool. So then, like, it was a nosedive. So we couldn't sustain. With Pochettino, it was the other way around. He took a lot of time. There were a lot of injuries. We were 11th at Christmas, and then he improved and improved. And it's the same thing he did at Tottenham Hotspur in the first season. He had a bad start, and then he was super consistent for 3.5, 4 seasons. It takes time. That's the research I did, and I was like, let's back Pochettino. Pochettino took and I'm making the comparison that why I'm not satisfied. And Pochettino is the comparison because he was just there last season, right? Poch took the squad in July 2023, which is the biggest revamp in the history of Premier League after 24 years. Last time this big rehaul of a squad was done at Leeds United in '99. Basically, Chelsea sold 80 to 85% of the players in 2-3 transfer window and got the whole. So Pochettino literally inherited a brand new squad that the players not only didn't play with each other, not even knew. So naturally it took him time, and there were 10 to 12 record injuries throughout the season, which affected it. Enzo Maresca not only got the squad in a better shape, at least 1 year of integration with additional signings and having a great start, right, just behind Liverpool. And then if you see, we lost a lot of games. We drew a lot of games up until recently. That's the reference I was giving. Newcastle, City, Villa. No one took the advantage. Yes, in the end, we ended well. We won 5 of the last 6 Premier League games. But we played a reserve Liverpool team, right? As I'm being critical, on my own team. Like, we were lucky that once we played Liverpool, they just won the league. And they rested 6 players. So that was 3 points for us, right? Against Newcastle, let's talk about the game against Newcastle, right? A lot of Chelsea fans look at it this way, that in the second half, we dominated the game. They're looking at the possession. Look, up until Nico Jackson got the red card, what was it, 36, 37 minutes? Yeah. 11v11, you guys were playing us out of the park, right? You guys, with 11v11, it was like Newcastle all over Chelsea. Of course, Eddie Howe, I think it was a masterclass from Eddie Howe that he realized that the way Enzo Maresca plays the ball possession approach, linear strategy. So it would be more difficult to penetrate a 10-man Chelsea team, and they could really take the advantage, hit them on the counter. So I was first surprised, why did Eddie Howe went defensive with 11 men? But it worked out well. He made some defensive substitutions as well. It was kind of risky, but it played out well. So I was not satisfied, and then with Enzo Maresca, I'm not saying he's a bad coach. He did the bare minimum. He did a good job, but it's a lot of, you can say, push towards him, as and the ownership wants to like back him for next 5 7 years as the disciple of Guardiola. We have seen Arteta, and I think Arteta is a good coach, right? And we Stelios and
You
both
don't
of
want
us
Arteta. You don't want Arteta, man. You don't want
huge
Arteta.
rivals. No, huge rivals of Arsenal, both of us.
Yeah.
We have the same thing in common. I'm saying he's a good coach. I can't say he's a bad coach. But the thing is, we have already seen the model that he inherited. And he
Yeah.
changed after 2 seasons. He doesn't play the same football. And last thing to wind us up, Mariska's press conference, if you see. First, he said, when they said with the Liverpool thing, you're close, what about? He said, no, why should you even expect anything from us in the first season? Top four is not a requirement. I'm just giving some instances. And so I don't see any ambition. And when he won the top four, I mean, when he achieved the top four, if you saw in the press conferences, the way he reacted and said, F off to the media. So I'm like, he didn't win the league or anything. What's going on over here? And most of the wins, 20 wins we had in the 38 Premier League game, 20 wins, 9 draw, 9 losses. 15 of those were very lackluster, and a lot to be desired, could have really gone either way. So I personally, as a Chelsea fan, of course, I don't see us progressing with Enzo Maresca. He
Interesting.
plays a one-way football, very linear. The good thing is, of course, it's a very set pattern, right? And just there are many things. So, like, let's end with
Yeah.
players like Cole Palmer, creative players, or let's say if it was Eden Hazard or Lamine Yamal. Of course, he won't come here. He signed a 6-year contract. Those creative players won't fit in his system. You don't go direct in his system. His system is very, very pragmatic, which is good. It has its advantages. But I think in the Premier League, it will take you to a certain extent. So that's my critical take on my own club.
That's good. That's
And
good, man. Well, I mean, you're about to play a final. A title is a title, but as you said, you want more from them. That's Standards win. Wake up, man. That's what standards is.
No. What he's saying is bang on, because I was staggered when they sacked Pochettino, because he'd finished the season.
It made no sense.
Like, I think you won what, 6 out of the last 7? Shut up the league.
Yes,
Yeah, they finished pretty strong.
And in style, we dominated the games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it may be.
And this season, when you were up there, in contrast, that was when Newcastle went on their nine-game win run.
Mm-hmm.
So you were dropping points, and we were overhauling you.
Yep, and we'll see.
That's correct. That's correct.
We'll be following what Chelsea does. We're going to be ending pretty soon. So, Stelios, did you hear that? Just got this from somebody, one of our guys, one of our twat staff, sending us this about Spurs. Oh, hold on, let me see. It says Spurs have been offered the opportunity to sign Bayern Munich winger Leroy Sané. If you don't take Sané, I'm coming to look for you, man.
Yeah, but the issue there is that, by the way, Maresca, I don't rate him.
Ooh.
I don't rate Maresca. Just my opinion. I think for the level Chelsea are used to,
I would have to come and have a drink with you someday, sir. I'm based in Scotland, so maybe someday soon.
We'll meet halfway in Newcastle. We can meet up with these guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's good.
We'll do a day out. But Spurs aren't going to pay Sané's wages. No chance. Unless Sané goes down.
Man, you got money, man.
Bro, what Sané's on 300k a week.
You don't think he's worth it?
Spurs are not paying any player 300 grand a week. No chance. Never in a million years are we paying that. No way.
Why? Because you've never seen it happen, or you believe in that?
Because if it doesn't work out, you're locked into 300 grand a week. We made that mistake with Ndombele, where he was on 250 a week and it flopped. And then I know Daniel Levy. If the player's worth it, he'll pay 180, 200. I think he'll go there. 300k. That's a lot of the trouble that Man United got into. So a lot of the problems they got into. Levy won't do it. If Sané's wages are less, listen, Leroy Sané he needs to want to come to Spurs as well, right? He's got to want to come to us. I'm sure there's a lot of clubs that are going to want. If we get him, that's that's an unbelievable start to the window for us.
So
But
one quick question, if you guys have for Steelers, if I may, one quick
that'd be
question.
tight.
So Steelers, the question is like, of course, Pochettino and Tottenham, I know, and we all know the history and the love affair and what he did for the club. So the question is like, let's say what about like if the club is not clear which manager to go for, right? And with the feel good effect, winning the trophy with Postecoglou, nothing to lose, give him another season, right? You see where I'm going. If it works and progress, fine. If it doesn't, Poch will be available after the World Cup 2026. So, what do you think about that?
I love Poch. Poch gave us some unbelievable moments, but he won nothing. He didn't win anything, and he had Kane, Son, Dele Alli, Ericsson, Dembele, Toby, Jan, Danny Rose, Carl Walker, Hugo Lloris. He had an unbelievable team. He didn't have a good squad because the substitutes were terrible. Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, it's just shit. But he didn't win anything, man. He hasn't got it over the line. You saw Chelsea Cup final against Liverpool. He didn't get it over the line. It's just
He got us eliminated from the CONCACAF Gold Cup, man.
Right, Poch is more of an emotional rather than a logical signing, and I think Poch might come back to us one day when the time's right, but I don't think now.
I had to ask this question. So if just it's very important. Don't you think so? The reason that Poch didn't go over the line, like the runner-up in the Premier League, 86 points, runner-up in the Champions League, he wasn't backed by Daniel Levy. You played an entire season at Wembley, didn't spend for 3 windows. The way I see it, rival fan, like
I hear you. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. Here's the problem I've got. Right, we've had Poch, Conte, and Jose Mourinho, and Harry Redknapp, all very good managers. None of them won anything. When they had a chance to win, so let's say they had an easier game. For example, Poch, he dismissed the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. He was Champions League, Premier League champion. Basically, what Arteta does, you end up with nothing. He dismissed the small competitions. Then we had Mourinho. This guy lost to Norwich, who got relegated. We got kicked out of the cup to Norwich. And he lost to Dinamo Zagreb, not a big European team. When we were 2-0 up in the tie, we went away and we lost 3-0. Their manager was in prison, FaceTiming the team at half-time to do the team talk, and we lost to them, right? When Conte went out of the cup, we lost to Sheffield United, another relegated team, and we lost to Middlesbrough, who were in the Championship, and we lost to St Etienne and got kicked out of the Conference League. So these previous managers, when they had easy moments to win, they all lost. And I don't know why, because they're brilliant managers, but they lost. And people say, but Bodo Glimp is easy, Frankfurt's easy. Okay, he won those games. He got it over the line. Man United, shit. Okay, beat them then. He beat them. So coming to Spurs as a top manager is one thing. Coming to Spurs and winning is different. And I don't know what it is about my club, but we're like this. So Poch hasn't proven that. My club.
Yeah, so like Deji.
Deji, yeah. Do you know what? I got possessed by Deji. But I just... This is why...
Domination in the location.
He's flopped as much as...
He's magic,
Listen, I love Poch. If he came back and we backed him...
Yeah.
I'm 50-50. But like I said to you boys, Eddie Howe, don't underestimate a manager getting it over the line. Don't underestimate that. Very few managers can do that. Very few.
I agree with that. He's got a lot to fix, though. But I agree with that. By the
way, can I ask you a quick question? I know you got to go. There's just one thing I need to ask you.
Yeah.
What is going on with Paul Mitchell?
Well, they didn't let him work, and that's the thing. That's the concern, because my concern is this: and you've spoken about this in the earlier show, who was done amazing as far as numbers concerned. Let me have my opinion now, old man, because he's going on a rant saying that Eddie Howe needs to be king and all that stuff. It's not fair to a guy that didn't have the opportunity to showcase what it is, Spurs, Monaco, etc., for the club. And if it is true, we don't know what's happened. The fact is that we know that Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell didn't get along for the longest time. Paul Mitchell came here and said this transfer strategy is not fit for purpose, and the past window. So we thought this might be the time where we haven't signed a single first team quality player in 3 windows.
I know.
So this might be the way. Well, the rumor is that Eddie Howe did have a meeting with Al Rumayyan, who is the chairman of the club, after the last game against Everton, qualifying for Europe, for Champions League. So the rumor is that he gave an ultimatum. He has to go because it's not working. Now I've done this, I've done that. So which one are you gonna have? And Mighty Win is all behind that. He's got 100,000 signatures. Win is amazing. He wants Eddie Howe to run the club, the women's football team, the cricket team, and I think to me that is we're in 2025, not 1925. You cannot run a club like that. You need to have quality people to do their job. And so, are we going to give a guy? And I understand. He won a cup. He's got it over the line, but he's still in the early stages of his career. He has not gotten a bigger job than this. He didn't come from Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich, and all of us. He's not Bobby Robson in that sense. Now, yes, Bobby Robson didn't win. Bobby Robson didn't win anything. Hold on, let me finish. Bobby Robson didn't win anything at the club. Perfect. However, he's still getting his career. He's proven himself in the football world. So you're going to give the keys to the club to a guy that really doesn't have much experience in running a football club. Are you going to give him the keys to the club? I don't think so. I don't think that's how football needs. And by the way, what is this monarchy, man? We just give somebody and he decides everything. No, it don't work like that. The DOF is supposed to be taking care of the interest of the club, right? Because the manager does bad, he gets sacked. All of a sudden, we got all these players. We got all these players that he got. What are we going to do now? So listen, we're going to get into the debate, but you agree with me, Stelios, so you better tell him what it is, man.
I love the fact that every club has got a problem. You guys are arguing over Mitchell. Jerry's arguing over Maresca. We're arguing over Anjin Anjao. No one's happy.
No one's happy. We're miserable twats, man.
I am the happy clapper in chief. I am very happy.
It doesn't take much. If we were 10th, you'd be happy. So, anyways, folks, we had a great show. Thank you, Stella. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will see you tomorrow at 2:30 p.m. in the UK to do the Newcastle United full review. So tune in for that one. But don't forget to subscribe to Tottenham Away on YouTube if you're a football fan. If you're a Tottenham fan, subscribe to them. Great channel, good stuff. And Jerry, do you have anything going on, or just?
Yeah, basically, I will send you the link. Like I shifted on different network on Twitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get it out there.
Jerry Z, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Jerry Z on Twitch, folks.
Yeah.
Thank
Try
you.
to look him up. Anyways, thank you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care, folks.